narrowing down the topics that we typically talk about on a show like this, I'm going to give Dennis a choice to start this particular episode of the Double D Experience.
Lisa Ann.
Okay, very nice. In the first 30 seconds, he already made up his choice.
Just because it's so like stupid and funny, like it's like something out of a sitcom episode or some shit. Like the way, like, how do you get, like, as an adult, right? It's like still hearing people like getting escorted out of shows because they were being loud or disruptive. It's like some kindergarten shit.
They were just trying to figure out why the fuck she was getting loud. Matter of fact, Lisa, like, who called you here? Who sent you?
Herself, I guess.
She's just talking to Matt Rife. It's just like the porn industry said the minute I fuck you, I get the title of top MILF again. All right, they don't understand the context of that joke already. I'll keep it really brief. Lisa Ann got arrested at a Matt Rife show. Here's the article. Fucking.
Oh man,
it's not a myth. It's not a meme. It's literally not a meme. This actually happened. Lisa Ann, the former porn star, the former MILF extraordinaire, really. Like, there was a point where
we all know who she is. She was one of the greatest lifeguards of all time.
Absolutely.
She saved that boy from that bathtub. It was just very heroic, very heroic.
Truly one of the greatest heroines of our time. And then after that, before that, it's interesting, she was actually into politics. I remember, like, she was the governor of Alaska, I believe, for a little while as well. It's this really interesting life she lived, like serving our country in that way, and then serving our country in, like, the more aggressive way and braver way as well, in terms of just running towards the danger instead of away from it. No, Lisa Ann got arrested at a Matt Rife show. And, I don't know if I should read this to you, if y'all need this, like, sort of catered to you in that way, but, here we go. Former adult film actress and podcast host Lisa Ann, who is now the age of 51, was led away in handcuffs from comedian Matt Rife's show at the Radio City Music Hall on February 4th, Sunday, 2024. In a post on X, Lisa Ann alleged she was dragged out of the comedian's show for just using her phone, which was prohibited. According to Ann, she had not used her phone, and was escorted out in handcuffs by the New York Police Department, who released her after 45 minutes. In one of the posts, she attached a video of the arrest and was heard saying, "I did nothing wrong. I didn't touch my phone. I wanted to see Matt Rife because he's a friend of mine, and I'm going to jail. And I've come to run the house." However, the New York Post, citing witnesses at the event, reported that Ann was arrested after she was caught trying to record the show and was being extremely disruptive when she was asked to stop multiple times. While Ann wrote that she went to jail, in another tweet she said she was detained and released at the scene 45 minutes after she was led away in handcuffs. It is unclear if she was facing any charges over the incident. So, this happened, like, on Saturday, like, the day after we posted last week, or the day after we recorded last Saturday, and I messaged Dennis immediately. With frame one, when I saw this article. How did I find that article? Not important. The point is, it's too funny.
Oh my god, yeah. Like,
it's just...
When he told me, I almost couldn't believe it, because, like, it
You
just...
took a while to respond.
It sounded...
And I knew that's because you were, like, taking your sweet time. I know you were looking at the Discord message and you were just like, what the fuck?
Because it read like it was out of a sitcom. Like, being escorted out of shows is still, like, wild to me. Like, it'd be one thing, because, like, I actually, there's plenty of comedy, comedians, there's a lot of comedians who they when they do their show, they obviously set some rules, and one of them is usually kind of just audience cannot have their phones on them. And it's more it's kind of more from kind of what I got from a lot of comedians as to, like, why they do that is, like, they just kind of want the audience to kind of just pay attention to the show and not on their phones, which like, I can agree with. It makes sense. And
also,
I know
for comedians and comedy shows, it's also about releasing their material. I saw Randy Feltface a couple of times. Randy Feltface just released the Feltopia special on YouTube. He did a live premiere for it. I saw all that material already because he was practicing that material while he was on tour during the Feltopia tour. So you can't film that shit because then it reveals his material to most people who don't see him live on YouTube before the shit is up. Lisa is apparently Matt's friend, so I can just bypass that rule and record it. Which, by the way, I think is bullshit. I'm willing to bet she doesn't even know him. I'm willing to bet she doesn't even fucking know him.
I like to think
with how obsessed women are with that guy, I'm willing to bet that Lisa was just another, like, comestible of, like, just, yeah, I know him. And then she was just going to try to, like, slip her way backstage. Which she would have been able to, because she's Lisa Ann. And then she would have just, like, you know, just, like, flash it real quick, and then she's back.
At the same time, though, like, I think Lisa also straight up underestimates, like, you know, just how far a good rack will not, like, it won't guarantee you getting that far in life, if that makes sense. Like, I mean, for Matt Rife and for a dude like him, it's like,
he has a nice rack. It gets him where he needs to go in life.
But for him, it's like, it's a bit different. And the thing is, he's young and hot. It, like, I know maybe some people would disagree, but he's like probably one of the biggest up and coming comedians at this point in time. And like, people can chalk up like, oh, that's just because he's young and he's hot. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. But
I mean, this was at Radio City. He was doing a show at the Radio City Music Hall, like, to let you all know, like, yeah, this guy, he kind of made it. It's definitely, like, real.
So, like, you know, as far as, like, his, I guess his star, is rising. And, I don't know, like, in the case of Lisa Ann, it's like, I always thought she was more low-key than this because, like, I always just thought, like, I fucked in porn and now, like, you know, I'm just chilling and doing my podcast and just kind of, like, minding my own business. That's who I thought she was, but I guess definitely not any, you know, I guess, you know, I'm not, I was definitely wrong about that because this is not behavior you'd see in someone that is like how I described as low key. Because getting escorted out of a show, that's pretty fucking embarrassing no matter how you like to swing in. She's
not that low key. I mean, there are so many like porn stars that people have dated, like, or that NBA players have dated that have ruined their fucking lives. You know, there's a couple, like, Mia Khalifa was one. I know Amber Rose was trying to get with Shroud, that NFL quarterback, whoever he was, and whatnot. And she's notorious for being a gold digger as well. Like, you know, she, like, was dated Kanye, I think, for a little while. She was married to Wiz Khalifa for a bit after that. And she was literally just a stripper. That's all she was just a stripper. And then she, like, met a famous person, and they wanted to wife up a stripper because, I don't know, hot, big titties, and therefore big heart. I don't know, if only that's how that works. Yeah. But porn stars can reduce the sizes of their hearts as well as their titties, as Lisa has done in the past. So Lisa Ann, as far as her retirement from porn, had some of the biggest, like, really, like, not a fall from grace. It's the opposite of that. She had, like, one of the most graceful retirements from porn than anything. She went into, like, sports podcasting, which, for whatever fucking reason, all these porn stars do.
Yeah.
You know, even, it's their way of, like...
Mia Khalifa also went the same way, too.
Well, Mia Khalifa also had that thing with that NBA or that NFL player, and also, like, I think, like, took half his shit and all that, which is a shame, because she was the most overrated porn star of all time, as men of science, we know. But, yeah, so, yeah, I don't know if it's, like, for Mia Khalifa, it's a gold-digging kind of thing. Lisa's not that in that ballpark. She really made something for herself, like, after this went down. Granted, she does the same thing as all these other women. She'd be fucking the NBA players, too. But then you remember on one of our most listened to episodes about a month ago.
For these people.
Yeah, she makes a guide for these players because she grew up in that world. She's seen some really fucked up shit. And so she wants to, like, help these young men who, frankly, shouldn't have the money that they do. Not saying that as a disparagement to, like, athletes. Like, you athletes are amazing. I'm talking about you're so young.
They're just not ready for it.
Mentally mature enough for that. Yeah. I wouldn't know what to do with that kind of money yet. I'd be like, oh,
I'd probably blow it on Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
You probably would.
They'd be like, where'd all your money go? It's like...
I'd blow it on, like, a down payment for, like, a place, and then
I would
probably, like, Probably like
want
a
a
bunch of
place
other
as
like
well.
head ass shit, like a bunch of like old Nintendo memorabilia and stuff.
Mint in box, 1,000-year door,
Yeah,
just so I can have another one.
Exactly, yeah. So the point is, Lisa Ann actually had a pretty big graceful retirement from porn before she decided to go back into it and then out of it again. Whatever. But point is, you know, Dennis, you're wrong in the sense that she's not low key. She's done a lot of things since then.
I don't know nothing about her other than that. Like,
I just know she does this kind of thing. I'm not into sports or anything, so I don't listen to any of this kind of stuff. But at the same time, you know, you have mentioned to me before that she does have the face of a Karen. And I would want to give the woman the benefit of the doubt. I don't know Lisa Ann, but, you know.
Well, come on, man.
She's not
Look
the
at
first,
that face.
I know. She's not the first porn star to get in this kind
If
of
she
hot
pulled
water.
up to you at a Best Buy, would you think, like, oh, anything different? That, like, entitled ass, like, looking face that she has? She's gonna be like, okay, like, she's gonna bring, like, I don't know, what the fuck? What do you buy at Best Buy? PS5, right? It's, can I get, like, a discount on the PS5? It's like, why? Like, there's no discount for the PS5, man. It's like, I know, but I want one. Like, that would be her energy, like, going up to that register.
You really think so?
I think so, low-key.
I mean, I don't know the woman, but...
She got escorted out of a fucking show. Who does that?
You're not wrong. You know, before I would have been like, nah, I don't know the woman. I don't want to, like, talk down on her like that without having a reason to clown on her, without having a reason to get the comedy side of the Double D experience, but literally and metaphorically in that case. But, yeah, no, now it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different after the shit went down. I mean, I remember when Sarah J got, like, fucking knocked out in the hood. I'll never forget when, like, some woman just straight up, like, clocked her shit in. and like...
Wait, what? What happened?
I was just many years ago. She was in the hood. She got in, like, some argument with, like, some people or whatever, and, like, some woman literally just dogged her ass. I don't know if, like, with what the case was, or if this woman came up and, like, Sarah was just like, you know, who called you here? Who sent you? And this woman was just like, you know, the porn producer said the minute I dog you, I get the title of top MILF porn star. And Sarah's just like, you do all this for a title? That's crazy.
No one knows the video we're quoting. We've quoted this fucking thing for fucking a month now.
Do yourself a favor and look up Kratos Has Had Enough on YouTube. Just look it up. It's just a big old thumbnail with a pink background of Kratos. It's like 11 minutes long. It's the greatest video on the internet. Just trust us, it is.
We'll drop a link in the description. Just watch it. It's funny as fuck.
Sarah, your daughter has returned, and I've come to run the hands.
Okay, I want to ask the one thing, because as far as, like, you know, who we know, I was about to say Sarah Palin. As far as who we know Lisa Ann to be, and, like, kind of, you know, just what she is, and, like, you know, obviously going off of this, right? Like, you know, like, obviously she is the most, like, I would say probably successful porn star that we kind of know of off the top of our heads, TBH.
Of her
like,
time, I would say.
Of her time, yeah.
And as well as
and
retiring from the industry as well.
Yeah, exactly. Based off of that, like, as far as retirement went, like, I definitely would agree. Like, where she's at right now is probably a lot better than, I would say, most porn stars. Better than most, but, you know, by the time of their retirement. Like, it's kind of very rare also to see a lot of them kind of bow out from the industry, like, as gracefully, let's say, as, like, Lisa has. And, like, I don't know if Lisa also does OnlyFans. Like, I'm not sure. Maybe she does. I'm betting money she probably does, but it's, like, not her main form of income anymore, like, doing porn, obviously, because it's, like, she actually has, like, a real job and such. At least I think.
It's number 13 on this website of the top most successful porn stars of all time.
Yeah. But then that's what I'm saying, like, a lot of
this person describes her as the Big Mac of the porn world.
Well, yeah. I mean,
and Lisa Ann in her prime, I'm like, this is as perverted as I'm gonna get with this. In her prime, I think she was objectively one of the sexiest fucking women alive. As far as, like, women with fake assets go, because obviously her titties were fake. You know, and
like,
whatnot,
most of them are.
A lot of them, I would say. I mean,
yeah.
a lot of them are natural too, and, like, some of them just, like, are big naturally. I mean, you know, that's how it goes. But, like, Lisa Ann in her prime was, like, probably the most popular porn star. At the very least, the most popular MILF. Like, she was the queen of MILFs. Like, easily the queen of MILFs.
Everyone knew who she was, just like how we how we all know who Johnny Sins is. Like, it was kind of like that same like level of like kind of just recognizability that we kind of just knew them from. Like, we just knew exactly who they were. Like, and you know, it's like so weird because like I've met like, you know, some people who like, not that I asked them, it's like, hey yo bro, like what kind of porn you watch and stuff, and it's like, but it's more like, okay, if I pull up a picture of Lisa Ann, they're like, who is that? She's hot. I'm like, you don't know who this is? Like, so some people that just like don't really know, but because like they don't really like care for their names.
Because they're not fucking addicted to porn. Like,
they're because they're not
men
like
in America.
They're not like looking up like, oh, what's this porn star's name, or like they, you know how on Pornhub like sometimes they ask, it's like, oh, like what's this actress's name? Like, and there's always someone who asks like, who is this?
Oh, and no, the Reddit like thread down below, sauce.
So yeah,
source,
exactly. Sauce.
Name. Like, it's unfortunately a big part of our, a big part of our culture at this point. And Lisa Ann was definitely up there. So it's a shame that, you know, what happened to her happened, but she went full Bobart.
Yeah.
Never go full Bobart. And we know
explain that for the audience in case they don't know.
Most of our listeners are from America. We know that. We don't know how like politically inclined, like, you know, most of our listeners are. I
like to think y'all like are kind of politically inclined, but at the same time, like, you know, you kind of hate politics the same way that maybe perhaps I do as well. And that, like, it's just kind of like, we know it's there, but it's like, I'm here to enjoy myself and not really get into that kind of shit. Because like that's usually what I do when I'm on the internet. Like, I'm not really looking for that kind of stuff.
The point is, if you don't know who Lauren Bobart is, she is a representative from... What state is she from again?
I love how we don't even know that. It's
I don't remember. But yeah,
so it's clearly an unimportant state.
Because I try to keep Lauren Bobart out of my thoughts and out of my mind.
Didn't she have a nude that leaked?
Lauren Bobart, she's is she from Florida? She's a representative from Colorado, I think, from the 3rd district.
Okay.
A seat that I don't believe she was even elected to. I think it was just a vacant seat. And which explains a lot. Explains a lot about her, to be honest, because this woman, she is a piece of dog shit. Like, she is a actual, like, horrible person. Beyond her opinions and whatnot, beyond her super extremist views and all this shit, she's also just a piece of shit. And the reason I'm saying go full Bobart is because a couple of months ago, she had a scandal where she was in a theater at some show, and she was being hella disruptive. Smoking in the theater, giving a guy a fucking hand job next to her. I'm not even joking. All this shit. This is one of our elected officials who was doing all this bullshit. Being mad loud, I think yelling at the stage, too. Like, all this, like, horrid shit. And I really wanted to believe in our heart of hearts that our porn stars in America were a little more elegant than our politicians.
No.
I guess all is right with the world after all.
Or at the very least, it just kind of like, you know, proves us wrong, but at the same time, just kind of like,
yes,
I guess the apple don't really fall too far from the tree. But at the same time, though, it's like both of them, though, like I said, like, you know, Lisa Ann kind of gives off that like kind of low key, high key, mid key, like sort of like
she could play
Karen energy. She could, yeah.
The exact way she played Sarah Palin. Literally, more people fucking knew more people like. I swear to God, no, maybe at least like more like dudes, I should say, knew Sarah Palin from Lisa Ann's portrayal of her, which is literally probably one of the most famous pornos of all time to this day, as opposed to who Palin actually was, because Palin was one of the original like ditz politicians who also had like some pretty crazy views.
She did say, well, you know, it's like.
Remember, she was like, I could see Russia from my house.
It wasn't even crazy. It wasn't even crazy shit, though. It was just a lot of dumb shit. It was like, she was from that era where, like, you could get away with saying really retarded shit like that because it's just, like, nobody really, like, give a fuck. Or, like, because we always dogged on Bush back in those days. Like, everyone did. Like, he said, obviously, like, all this really, like, not, like, people back in the day said it was outlandish, but I was like, this is just an idiot.
It was outlandish.
He's just stupid.
It was outlandish for its time. She was before the Republican Party was completely destroyed by Trump, basically. Like, she was before that happened. So the crazy shit that she said back then is like mild for the like the shit.
But that's
that
what
goes
I mean.
On
Yeah,
now,
it's just like that's like the stuff we'd laugh at. It's like, what the fuck? Like, did she really say this? It wasn't like, you know, how could she say this?
And in the vein of Lisa Ann, I mean, I know the reason they even made that porno is because obviously, say what you will about Sarah Palin, she was pretty fucking hot.
Was she stalked? Was she stacked?
Yeah, I think. Obviously not as stacked as Lisa, but, you know.
Is she doing anything anymore? Like,
Sarah Palin?
She's still, like, governorship and shit? Like, she's still governor?
I don't think so. I don't know what the hell she's doing nowadays. Probably wrote a book. She probably made, like, a book deal.
Oh, yeah, they always write a book.
Yeah. She's 60 now, divorced from her husband in 2020. I don't know what she's doing nowadays.
So does she
I
still have
think she's just backing Trump. She's just a Trump supporter. And
So she's not in government anymore.
What is Sarah Palin up to now? The controversial ex-Alaska governor has since backed Donald Trump, run for Congress, and appeared on The Masked Singer, maintaining her millions with cameo earnings. She's doing cameos.
Whatever keeps the lights on, I guess.
No, you know, Cameo's like that little app that you can get celebrities to say whatever you want on them.
Yeah, like they.
I guess.
Whatever keeps the lights on at night. Whatever.
Yeah, I can see it.
I don't really blame her for that.
Yeah, the point is, you know, what happened is that Lisa. There were witnesses that like said to the contrary of what happened to Lisa Ann, right? Because witnesses, we'll go back to the article here.
Yeah.
Witnesses allege Lisa Ann was using her phone at Matt Rife's show after being arrested and dragged out by the NYPD for allegedly causing a disturbance, including recording and refusing to stop despite multiple requests. She took to X on Sunday, announcing her arrest and then denying using her phone at the event. Quote, so I was dragged out of the Matt Rife show tonight in handcuffs. She added the guy too. She literally added Matt about that. Cool. So, stating I was using my phone. I had not used my phone. I was just enjoying the show. 45 minutes in handcuffs, sent to an ambulance and released. Meanwhile, I missed the show I was so looking forward to. However, the New York Post, which obtained footage from the scene, showed Lisa Ann using her phone during the show. In addition, a source confirmed that Ann caused a scene and became loud and disruptive after she was asked to stop recording the show, which is prohibited for the reasons that we mentioned about 10-20 minutes ago. The source revealed that the police were involved after she refused to adhere to the rules and even kicked the officers. She was not removed from the phone. She was removed because she was disruptive, the source claims. She was being very disorderly. She started getting loud. The police were there, and she started kicking them.
That's crazy.
Oh, man. Wow.
And of course, because, you know, it's... Because, like, usually, depending on who it is, like, the police would not hesitate to manhandle the fuck out of anybody. But, like, you know, it's like... I like to think maybe the police officer saw who she was and remembered all the ropes he shot because of her. It was just like... I was like, oh, you know, it's Lisa Ann. Let's be a little kind, guys.
Is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes.
As she's like kicking and spitting on him, like as he's like dragging her out.
Oh no! Don't step on me, mommy. No. I never understood that. By the way, the act of actually being physically stepped on by a person, that does not turn me on. Maybe it's because I'm not a sub. Like that's probably part of the reason.
No, you're not a simp.
No, simp and sub. I'm saying I'm not a sub. Like, I don't like to be, like, dominated in...
I'm not
at least
sandwich.
That hard to the point where, like, I'm getting stomped on. Like, you know, a fucking, like, police brutality scene or some
I'm not
shit.
A sandwich. I'm a man.
Shut the fuck up. I hate you. Dennis, who called you here? Who sent you?
You.
Oh, that's right.
You fucking idiot.
Anyway, in another post, Lisa expressed... wait, go ahead.
No, just... It's like... What I also love is that no one is defending her online. Like, it just seems like when I looked it up and then when I kind of went a little, not like deeper, but like went on Reddit.
Let me click the Twitter post because I want to see.
A lot of people are just like clowning on her for it because it's just like what the fuck is wrong with you? Act your age, you dumb, you fucking bitch. Like, what is wrong with you getting dragged out of shows like at your age? Holy crap.
I don't know, man. It is pretty embarrassing. I won't lie.
It's embarrassing. It's hella embarrassing.
Here's what people responding. In another post, Lisa Ann expressed gratitude for the outpouring of love and support in the wake of her alleged unjust arrest, and said she stood her ground to the officers after, according to her, they took a misunderstanding too far. Yeah, she's also claiming it wasn't her in the photo. She also claimed it wasn't her before even expressing the sympathy as to what even happened to her. She also alleged she was physically and emotionally bruised from the ordeal. Meanwhile, Matt Rife, who has been plagued with controversy since his Netflix special where he seemingly derided victims of domestic abuse, has yet to respond to the recent incident, which he's not fucking gonna. He's gonna make a joke about it in his next special. That's what I would do. That's what I would
exactly,
do.
Yeah.
Like, full stop. And Matt Rife, like, talking about another thing, it is so funny how, like, women will, rightfully so, get on men for being like, oh, what, like, oh, her, really? She's fake. Her tits are fake and all this and whatnot. And, like, all these unnatural assets and, like, being like, you should love the naturalness of a woman. And yet they go hog wild for Matt Rife, who, like, had his teeth fixed. He had facial reconstruction surgery, like, for the butt chin and stuff that he has. He had a fuck ton of work done. He also got shredded pretty fast. I'm not going to accuse the guy of being juiced up. I'm not going to say that, but I don't know, man.
I want to say something. I want to ask you something.
This is the same guy who, like, a girl had a fucking seizure at one of his shows, and then when she got up, before even, like, having, like, people look at her to make sure she was okay, literally asked Matt Rife to kiss her on the cheek.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that.
I'll never forget that. I will never fucking forget. This woman saw the fucking pearly gates at one of Matt Rife's shows, and instead of being like, oh my god, I'm alive, it's amazing, like, she just opened up her eyes, saw him, and instead of, like, actually getting the medical treatment that she needed, she's like, can we take a selfie with you kissing my cheek? Which he did not do, by the way, because Matt was hella uncomfortable with that. He actually hates a lot of the attention that he gets from these young girls.
I even like to, I want to then ask you, because, like, we get and hear all the time of, like, whenever women they do any sort of, like, cosmetic surgery, like, whether it be the face, tits or ass or wherever, right?
Yeah.
And, like, we usually it's always a mix of, like, oh my god, why would you do that, or like, ew, it's so ugly, or like,
it depends on how egregious it is.
Because because then one could even argue, like, well, then, it depends on, like, the quality of the job. Because it's like, if it does look like shit, we've all seen shitty BBLs.
Ava Adams' tits are fake, as you can imagine, because they're absurdly huge.
Yeah.
But you look at them,
you can't help
whoever her plastic surgeon was, fucking A1. Because, like, he actually gave her tits that big and made them look natural, which is incredible. But that's what I mean. There are shitty jobs, and there's good ones.
But that's the thing. Like, usually whenever, we see women get, like, those kind of cosmetic surgeries and, like, those, some would like to say, I guess, improvements. Like, if they get those, like, we tend to, like, I guess, are pretty close to judgment and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever, let's say, we see, let's say, like, not exactly handsome guys get, let's say, those sort of surgeries, and they then become, like, a bit more, like, obviously handsome, we usually really don't say anything in that regard. We usually just kind of, like, say, like, hey, yo, glow up, and stuff like that. Like, a lot of dudes, if I saw, like, a guy that I was, like, friends with and he got, like, some work done and it just really, like, kind of helped elevate him, like, in terms of his looks, I'd be like, yeah, I'd be congratulating him and everything, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, whenever, and I know, like, women may even will go on and say, like, oh, like, I don't give a fuck, like, what people say about me and shit. Like, I got this for me and stuff like that. Yeah, like, that's fine and all. But, like, just as far as, like, kind of what your crowd will, like, say if they see that, it's never like, wow, you look so beautiful because your tits went from an A to a D. Like, it's like the compliments almost seem so forced, I feel.
Yeah, like, that's just part of, like, living in the world as a woman.
Yeah,
I feel like they have to deal with all that shit. Women judging each other's looks. Men, of course, judging their looks as well. You and I probably even did it in the show. Like, as nice as we try to sound when we do it, I literally just mentioned, like, oh, Ava Adams has the best tit job I've ever seen,
Yeah.
And which can obviously sound rude to some people, but I am trying to compliment the woman. She literally does have the best boob job I've ever seen. You look at her, and you think, like, no, yeah, they're probably fake because of how huge they are, but they look incredible as far as, like, the realism looks, I suppose, you know what I mean? So,
I suppose,
it's a bit of a double standard thing as well, like, I feel like, men will talk about those glow-ups, like, because the thing is, like, men will, like, objectify a woman, right? In the same, and also sort of similar vein that some women will objectify men. One way that can sort of be true is that, obviously women have been toned down in video games the last couple of years. Look at Mortal Kombat 9. The women in that game look like strippers. Their tits are ridiculous. The jiggle physics are insane. And they wear these obscenely skimpy outfits. Like, they're really absurdly overly sexualized, right? Mm-hmm. And the men are obviously, they're all shredded as well, right? The men are still shredded in, like, the newer games. But the women have been toned down substantially. I don't know if that's because of Anita Sarkeesian or if that was like a Gamergate thing and whatnot. But, you know, they'll talk about this kind of stuff in games, and women will always get talked about in video games, blah, 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 this and that. Like, you can't look like this looks ridiculous, woman wouldn't wear this armor. But then they'll, like, fawn over, like, the dudes, like, with, like, the ridiculous, like, absurdly shredded six-packs, like, the unrealistic fucking muscles, like, looking like they're in the next, like, Marvel movie and shit like that, blah, blah, blah.
Chris
it's like
Hemsworth type.
Men do have these standards, too. You know what I mean? It just, I guess maybe they're judged a little bit. I wasn't really prepared to talk about this.
But like, I think it still pertains to it just a little bit. Because,
no, it does,
like,
it does. I just wasn't, I didn't have my thoughts, like...
Because if this was a dude being dragged out of this show, right, we'd be clowning on him online. Everyone would be clowning him online. He wouldn't be saying later on, like, oh yeah, guys, thank you for the love and support. It's like, he just would fucking fuck off from the police and then just go home and not fucking talk about it. Like, he would just, bro would not say nothing. At the very least, he'll just probably tell his friends, it's like, yeah, man, like, they roughed me up a bit. I got dragged out. I got out like 45 minutes later and I went home. Like, he would just be so, like, nonchalant and low-key about it. Because it's like, I don't know, it's a lot of times, like, I don't want to say this is more like a men versus women thing, but like a lot of times from what I notice, like guys, they will own up to a lot of dumb shit they've done. They'll admit it wholeheartedly and they'll just be like, oh yeah, I fucked up. And like they'll just be like, oh yeah, I messed up. Like, and they'll just own up to it. And like they won't be like deflecting anything or whatever. They'll just be like, oh yeah, no, bro. Like, let's say if that was a dude at that show, he'll just be like, oh no, yo, bro, I was super fucked up. I don't know what the fuck I was saying. Like, I was being mad disruptive.
I don't think that's a men versus woman thing at all. I think that's literally just are you a shitty person or not.
That's fair too. I'm just saying though, like usually
I don't agree with that.
Because for her, like, because at least from Lisa Ann, like, you know, from just what we've seen, like on her tweet and stuff, it's like she was just deflecting everything. She was not owning up to anything. She wasn't owning up to her behavior, even though we had video proof of her.
She did literally pretend the woman in the photo was not her.
Exactly.
She did do that, which is like kind of like, I don't know.
You are right though, in the sense that, okay, that is just like more of a shitty person type of thing. And like, I don't know, it just seems also like the more and more, like, I guess we always like kind of bring up that whole me and David, when we bring up like that whole like men versus women type of thing, like we kind of realize it's really like, to a certain extent, maybe it could just be like, you know, like if we're talking classically speaking, like sometimes just stereotypically it could be like a men versus women type of thing. But a lot of times we do realize it's just like more because you're just a shitty person.
Yeah.
Like, it's very much like, and that's the most like gender neutral fucking thing ever, usually.
And like, as far as looks go, I think another reason that, you know, part of the reason women like fawn over Matt Rife so hard, even though a lot of the stuff that he has is literally fake or was like enhanced, is because women aren't used to that.
Like what? Like pretty dudes like talking down on them?
No, pretty dudes who like, you know, did this kind of shit to make themselves pretty. Most men don't put on makeup, or straight men at least. I know some gay men do, even some straight men do, I bet. But most dudes, let's be real, they don't put on makeup. We don't have to work as hard for our beauty standards as women do. Women gotta wake up, they gotta do their hair, they gotta put on this makeup, they gotta put on this sexy dress. They literally have to wear things around their chest to hold up these giant salubrious bags of meat, like in front of them. You know how fucking annoying that probably is? That's gotta suck. Like, wholeheartedly, that's gotta suck. We don't gotta do that. We throw on a pair of jeans, we throw on a shirt, we throw on our underwear, bing, bang, boom.
Sometimes put on some cologne.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, that's the thing.
Our beauty standards are topped off there. We got it on easy fucking mode, my friends. Women, on the other hand,
is product and cologne. That's the most we'll do ever. Like, we will never go, like, to the point where we're, like, doing our eyelashes and shit, or like threading our eyebrows or whatever. Oh no, to be fair, it's like threading our eyebrows is not even like that bad of an idea. Like, it's probably it's kind of painful. I've done it ononce. It's low-key painful, and
it also depends on the person and their standards. I'll never forget, you know, that girl I dated when she asked to see my dick and I took it out. Like, she was definitely, she was not disappointed at the length or the girth, but she saw like, oh, you're not cut. Oh.
Boy, so she didn't like
I'm not circumcised.
Yeah. Oh, you're not snip?
I'm actually not. No.
Yeah. Ew.
Wow, fuck you, dude. This is coming from the guy who offered to give me a hand job before we started recording. Fuck you, Dennis.
That's the most like nonchalant, like, ew.
You're like, ew. David's fucking gross. Fuck you, asshole. Literally offered to fucking, like, rub one out for me before
Watch me,
we
like,
even started recording.
In another world, it's like you drop your pants and I'm just like...
Listen, I'm not even gay, but even if I was... I ain't touching that shit, bro. That shit's nasty. It looks like a fucking hot dog with the bun protruding out of it.
That's actually crazy.
Anyway, I feel like women aren't used to like guys doing that reconstructive shit. Men are used to doing that for women. Women be photoshopping themselves on Instagram and all this stuff. The beauty standards are literally unachievable for women because they set themselves to a standard of woman that literally does not fucking exist in nature. Or even with makeup, on top of that. Don't fall in love with an Instagram filter, that's, you know, what I always say. But, then obviously in the case of porn stars, they fake a lot of what they have. They get boob jobs, they get ass jobs, and and there's like a lot of women who are getting Brazilian butt lifts now too, which again, when I used to work at the American Dream Mall, the ones I've seen are fucking egregious. I literally saw a woman with an ass that stuck out like 2 feet outside of her waistline, and it wasn't even, like, literally, like, even other people were looking at her, and I was talking with like other guys about it, and we were like, she looks fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
That's not sexy at all. Like, even remotely, that is not fucking sexy. So men are used to, like, seeing this kind of stuff with, like, women, like, enhancing themselves in certain ways because of the ridiculous beauty standards that women have, like, been forced to adhere to, which was a decision by a company. You know, social media warped our views of people, it created a standard that doesn't exist, and now it's affected the social consciousness. Whenever there's a stupid stigma in life, remember, it usually has to do with, like, a dumbass decision a company made. You can always, like, reel it back down to that. Why are video games stigmatized for men and not women? It's because when video games were a booming industry in the 80s, Nintendo... they had to choose to market it between boys and girls because video games were not a category yet. They had to lump it in with toys, which were segregated between men and women, so they had no choice but to market it on one side of the aisle. And that's why it's called the Game Boy and not the game, you know, the game gender neutral.
Yeah, the game gender fluid.
That is literally the reason, though. Men aren't used to that kind of stuff because, like, men's beauty standards are different. Like, we comb our hair, we, like, put our deodorant on, and that's enough for, like, some people. It's increasing. They release products that, like, we put, like, things that make our balls smell nice and like powders and whatnot. We're expected to shave everywhere now. You know, you can't, a lot of women do not like hairy genitals on a guy anymore and whatnot. But I feel like women will like say men can't be doing this. Like, you know, like why are you fawning over these like fake ass bimbos and whatnot that when they don't realize they fawn over himbos who have fake stuff because they're not used to men faking stuff because that's also kind of a new thing. Matt Rife used to be fucking ugly. Look at the old photos of him. I'm not gonna hold
ever,
you. Fuck it, I'll throw it on screen.
Yeah, here you go. There's a before and after of.
He looks like a hick that got kicked in the teeth by a mule.
I will just say, because I don't ever want to just say a dude is like, oh wow, man, you're fucking ugly. Like, you know, I don't ever want to say that, but like, definitely he is not the most remarkable looking.
And I would have done what he did too. You know, there's nothing wrong with like enhancing yourself a bit. If you don't like things about yourself, that's fine. Matt Rife didn't like his teeth, that's fine. Maybe you're a woman, you want to make your tits a little bigger. That's a little more like a little on the tiny bit more on the egregious side, just because like breasts are seen as more like of a sexual component. But it's your body, that is your fucking choice at the end of the day. Never let any motherfucker in this whole world ever tell you what to do otherwise. But he looks like a completely different person. He literally looks like he talked to Zeus. And Zeus said...
I'm gonna sculpt your face.
No. And Zeus straight up said, if you do this, I will make you the god of war. It's what he looks like. Straight up. Like, he looks like a completely different person. Matt Rife now...
absolutely.
Like, he literally looks like a Greek god. The guy looks like a fucking Adonis. Like full stop.
Absolutely.
And, But, like, it's just... I just think it's interesting to point out that women are... I feel like they're not used to, like, fake assets on a dude. I feel like women are not as used to... I could be wrong. I'm not a woman, so who knows? But it's just an interesting thing to think about, that's all.
Although, to be fair, like, when...
guys don't fake their dicks. Unless they're in porn.
Porn.
There apparently is a procedure you could do to, like, pull a little bit more of your cock out. Like, just sort of, like... take more fruit
get some inches there.
Yeah, like literally take some more fruit from the vine that's on like the like you literally take like the parts of the dick that are like still inside of you and they straight up just like they just pull a little bit more of it out.
It's like
I don't know any guys that have done that procedure or that horrible shit that men are doing now where they're like having that really fucked up procedure where they literally like want to be taller,
Mhm.
and they chop off parts of their leg and like artificially expand them or some shit, and they have to relearn how to walk just because they want to be taller for women. Which that's all sorts of fucked up. And it's hard for us to even comment on that because me and Dennis can't say anything about that because me and Dennis are both really fucking. Me and Dennis are actually both really tall. So
I don't want to say really tall.
You're pretty tall, man. You're like 6'2".
Damn, David, thank you.
What do you mean? It's just fucking true. It's just a fact. I'm not saying that. You know what, Dennis? You're 6'2" in my heart. Thank you, David. I love you. Like, no, you're literally 6'2". That's just the fucking truth. Like, what do you want me to say?
My whole thing is that like, you know, as like I guess
Dennis is a fucking Chad.
It kind of. Thank you, but when it comes to at least like looks, right? Like, and like all the sort of judgment, I suppose, like we love to kind of like throw like at everyone. Like, I don't know, like it's for a lot of dudes, right? Like, you know, again, like for anyone who, let's say, has a friend, if you do have a friend who has like a dude friend who has done like cosmetic surgery and like kind of to fix certain things up, like let us know. Like, I'm actually very curious, like kind of, you know, what was your first reaction like when you saw all of that? And, you know, personally for me, if like I knew anyone, like a dude who like got cosmetic surgery, but like I guess, and like, you know, okay, like I did notice like a difference. After that, it's kind of like, you know, my reaction will depend on like how drastic it is, because if any of you know anything about like, you know, Korea and even East Asia and like the way their beauty standards are, it's actually even like way more, I think it's actually way worse almost than over here, because you can't get a job if you look ugly over there.
Really?
That's like, yeah, because like when they pull up your job application, right? It's not just like, okay, your resume and like your past work experience and all of that. There's a picture of you that you have to attach to that. And they're going to look at that along with, let's say, your job experience. And then also gauge their decision on whether or not they're going to hire you. Not entirely solely just on how you look, but like it could be a big factor if you're just an ugly fat fuck, and if they see that, they're going to be like, you know, it's like, wow, okay, he has the skills, but he ugly as fuck. And
what
like,
a culture difference.
It is a huge culture difference. That's why I'm saying, like, you know, as far as like
that
the West
happens
goes,
here. Oh man,
no, yeah,
there'd be lawsuits.
Oh yeah,
all
absolutely.
Sorts of different things. Being prejudiced against somebody because they're fat, you know, for that, like that's, you know, like we're not gonna hire you even though you're perfect for the job because you got love handles. Like wow.
But that's what I mean, though.
Crazy.
Because now we see, like, as far as like the way even our cultures, like East Asian and even the West, to kind of like view like beauty, it's like China kind of likes thick girls. They kind of like
do they really?
Chicks. They actually kind of do like thicker chicks. Like East Asian, if we're talking specifically like Korea and Japan, they like obviously more of the skinnier type of women. Like classically speaking, they just like skinnier women.
Yeah, but they do be posting their fetishes as though, man. Obviously, you have like Hitomi, who's like, you know, the Jav star that she is. Shiori, who's like who I've discovered is like the
thick goddess,
the Hitomi of ass.
Yeah,
as well. And that I'm bringing chest. She's busty as shit too. Yeah. So she's kind of the antithesis to that.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying though, like she's not the she's the exception to it though. Like,
I guess, yeah.
When it comes to at least like, you know, the way beauty standards is, and like kind of just across the board between men and women, like just classically speaking between men and women, like how we kind of like perceive like those enhancements depending on who they are, it really kind of is like a bit of a double standard, because like you said, Matt Rife and him getting that is fairly a new thing. Although for a lot of guys in East Asia, they get work done too, but like nowhere near as like, let's say, drastic with Matt Rife. Because then one could even argue, well, Matt Rife was just, I don't know, it sounds so bad to say, he was born ugly, so he kind of needed some work done. I don't want to say
he wasn't that ugly. He just had bad teeth. I had bad teeth. I needed braces growing up.
But that's why I'm saying, like, you know, it just like looked as if like, you know, he needed, like, people would argue like, okay, he needed those enhancements or whatever. Like, you know,
yeah,
I mean, depending on
he did have really bad teeth.
Like,
actually.
depending on like what he was kind of looking for, because like at the end of the day, like, you know, the doctor is gonna give what you want. They're not gonna just do whatever they feel as if like is the appropriate amount of enhancement. They're gonna do what you want, the patient. And for Matt Rife and whoever else, like, they go to for these, like, kind of procedures.
For the most
like,
part.
Yeah. Like, okay, I want to look just like this. Or I at least want to shave off some of, like, this. I want to, like, flatten my chin a bit. Like, I don't want it to be so sharp. I want, like, my eyelids to kind of, like, have a little more shape to them. Like,
important within reason, though. Like, we're
is
within,
the main
like,
thing.
not within reason, but within, like, possibilities. Cody, for her boob job, the smallest they can make her tits, not her boob job, she's having a breast reduction, which I guess is still a boob job, but, usually boob job is associated with...
It's the other direction.
There's a stigma with that. Because of the sheer amount of titties that woman even has, literally the smallest they can make her is still a 32 double D, I think. It's either a 32 double D or a 32 triple D. I think.
Which is still, like, chesty.
It's very chesty, yeah. That's literally the smallest they can possibly make her tits. So there's also, like, a realm within reason of what you can even do to enhance yourself. And how sad somebody feels about themselves, how afraid they are of being judged, or how stigmatized they feel with these unrealistic beauty standards that these fucking dumbass companies have created to sell us products, of how far they're willing to go to fucking butcher themselves. There are men cutting off their legs and having their, like, legs artificially expanded. I don't even know how that procedure works. It's a really fucked up and unethical, like, surgery. Like, it's been done before. Just to make themselves taller. Just because, like, women are told, like, you have to only go for tall guys. We like tall guys and stuff. Which I'll say, like, to the stigma that women have created for that. Like, that's literally the same thing as, like, us, like, liking you entirely based on how big your tits or ass are.
Yeah.
So, that's another double standard that we're just gonna hold you to.
Yeah, but they call us pigs. They call us pigs if we do that.
Well, they're pigs too. They're pigs too for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Again, it's a problem that, like, like, I sympathize, like, with, like, so many men for in that regard if they're feeling that low on themselves, but it's hard for me to empathize with them because I am 6'5". So it's a little rough on that front. But I'll tell you, all that glitters ain't gold. But when you're this tall, I'll tell you sometimes the wrong kind of women prey after you. I will tell you that right now. Yeah. Well, double D's, double standards once again, I suppose. We could call it here, or we could talk about Epic Mickey real quick.
No,
I don't know.
I think we're good here.
You think we're good? I think so too, yeah.
I think just some closing thoughts too. It's like, at least as far as, like, the whole, like, going back to the whole, like, Lisa Ann situation, like, I know we kind of, like, went off a little on the metaphysical, like, I guess off of this whole shit. Like, I mean, it's about fucking a porn star who got dragged out of a show. If we really break it down, it's just like a fucking disruptive bitch who just, like, got dragged out of a show. That's really what it is.
That's a perfect double D experience topic.
I know, but it's like then it just went to the metaphysical a little bit, which we sometimes tend to do.
Yeah.
But I guess, my whole thing is that, like, as far as, like, I guess what we want to tie what I want to tie it into, at least, is that, like, as far as, like, kind of who we know, like, Lisa Ann to be, or, like, who I thought she was, but I guess she wasn't really, like, I thought she was a bit more low key. I always like to think that plenty of, like, porn stars usually, like, the way they, again, like, they bow out usually from the industry is pretty just, like, low key. Like, they just quit and just go off and do their own thing, whatever that may be. Some of them end up in jail. Some of them just end up having, like, somehow normal lives and have kids and shit. But, like, for Lisa Ann, obviously that's not the case. And I guess even I'm bringing it back to the whole, like, entitlement argument because, like, she has, like, what David said, that Bober energy, where she just, like, thought, oh, I could do whatever the fuck I want and get away with it. But it's just like, I don't know, did Bober, like, did she, like, ever deny doing all that shit?
Probably. Knowing her, probably.
Yeah, okay.
Who knows?
It's like, but then, like, still not owning up to it. It's just like, come on now.
Yeah.
I mean, well, Lisa, I'm probably maybe every now and then still gonna watch, like, some of your past videos, TBH, but, like...
Oh, yeah, I still do. How do you think I found the article?
But then, like, the more I'm gonna, like... But then the next time I watch, I'm just gonna be like, oh, like... just off of what we know her, like, kind of doing and everything. It's, like, not really gonna ruin my experience with the video, but more so just, like... It's gonna be in the back of my mind.
You should always say that it's just, like, a means to an end. It has nothing to do with, like, the connection to the person, I suppose.
Absolutely.
But,
I don't know this person. It's just like, it's just gonna be in the back of my head. It's like, oh yeah, she did do that.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, she was the one that, like, did that. But and then, like, just kind of going off of, like, just bringing it back to, like, I guess the beauty standards again for a little bit, like, just to wrap up, like, it's it is very odd, like, again, that as far as like body enhancements goes, when it comes to stuff like that, like depending on how drastic they are, obviously it's gonna be like very off-putting for, you know, obviously so many people. There was one movie a while back that Korea made where it was like this literal like 300-pound chick who was like so not based on a real story or anything, but she was a fantastic singer and everything, but she could never show herself in public because of the fact that like she was actually the one singing the songs for this one performer, because the performer herself just couldn't sing. So she was the one always in the background lip syncing for her and everything. Like she was singing like,
literally the plot of Singing in the Rain.
But so because she was like 300 pounds and stuff, she could never reveal herself. So then she decided, oh, I'm gonna go and do some crazy ass plastic surgery. And she was just basically gone for like months. She went from 300 pounds to like 95, and like she just kind of shaved off her entire face. She just had like a tight body now and everything. And it like kind of brought forward that argument of like, you know, yeah, you did shave off like all of that, but it doesn't change the fact that like, you know, it doesn't change like who you are like at all. I know it sounds super fucking corny saying that, but it's just kind of like everyone, like, you know, there's a few people like, because she was like kind of going around in the movie like, and everyone was just kind of, oh my god, who is she, like why does she sing so good and everything, like oh my god, like she was just the hottest new thing. And then they found out that, oh, she was actually 300 pounds prior to her surgery, and she was just like an ugly fat fuck, and like, but she still sang good, but she was just like, as far as Korea's beauty standards go, was pretty grotesque looking. So like, you know, there was a whole like scandal that happened in the movie where like, you know, everyone was just kind of like dogging on her. It's like, oh, you were so ugly, what the fuck, like, and everything. And like, you know, people will still remind you like, again, like that who you were before, if anything. But then again, there's like, it's just like this weird like argument of like, you know, do we care of like who the person is like now, like, and what they look like, or do we care about what they were before? And like, I mean, in her case, it was pretty drastic because she was 300 pounds. But like, you know, it's like in real life, if I found that out from someone that like, oh yeah, like I was actually like 350 and like, you know, I did crazy like surgery and body enhancements and liposuction to like kind of get all this shit out, and now I'm like 95, like, you know, there would be I don't know, for me personally, I would have like a bit of a mix of like pity, not like really like that, oh my god, you're a pitiful person, but just that like, you know, she felt that like, oh, okay, like I was forced to do that because like I was 350 pounds and I wanted to get this shit out like right away. And so she chose probably the most drastic way to do it. Although, because like, you know, going to the gym classically, it's like, one could argue like, okay, like it's like, it's not like as fast. Like I want this shit now. Like I want it off now.
That's the whole point of those procedures. You know, it's just like exactly, a matter of impatience and not wanting to put the work in and whatnot. Mm-hmm. You know, at the gym. You know, how frequently I go to the gym, I exercise. I don't have an Adonis body because I still eat food that tastes good every now and again. Mm-hmm. So, well, I mean, it's not that simple, but you know, like it's really more diet than anything else. I mean, oh yeah, she should want to not be 350 pounds though for herself. Like that's just not healthy. No. You know, like I mean, beauty standards be damned. Like, that's God telling you to stop doing that. Yeah. That's literally God's way of telling you to stop doing that. I'm not even, like, fucking around, you know? Yeah. I mean, that leads to a whole different topic of, like, you know, the whole beauty positivity movement and, you know, being fat is actually healthy and blah, 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 and all that bullshit.
I'll never believe that ever.
I think there are women who get, like, to a certain level of curvy who would be considered fat by some people who are actually the right weight for their metabolic build, and therefore don't really have those health problems. But I'm talking about, like, you know, like my 300-pound life, like those motherfuckers who are insisting, like, yeah, no, this TLC is actually healthy, like, types. Legit.
Biggest loser.
Just stop. Just stop it. Not very epic of you.
I think, you know, I guess where I just stand with, like, body enhancements and stuff like that. Because, like, you know, again, we bring it back to Matt Rife, like, he was fairly not good looking and like he had fucked up teeth and all that, but he got surgery and he, you know, got that fixed, and now he's like a very much like classically handsome motherfucker. Like if you really think about it, he's not like rugged and shit, but he's just like classically pretty boy handsome type.
And it's interesting to see how like less judged he is for that than a woman who does enhancements to her face and whatnot. Which, you know, really says something, don't it?
Is some double standards there, but you know, again, even you argued it's like just because it's a new thing, we haven't really seen that. Like too much,
Yeah.
and at least from dudes, not like to that level, I guess, because he's also famous. We never seen like some dude who was like ugly before, and now he's handsome, and now he's famous. Like it's never really happened in that circle.
He wrote up on Dane Cook's jock. He was really good friends with Dane Cook. That's how he got started.
Oh, okay.
And then TikTok, blew him up because TikTok, was designed to blow people up. Who?
Yep.
Not to say
out of context.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that'll do. That'll do, donkey. Let us know. Talk about beauty standards. Donkey. That's partly about that. We're done. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Double D Experience. Wherever you listen to your podcasts, leave us a follow there on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast. If you're listening on Spotify, which I know a good chunk of you do, if you could go to your mobile device, leave us a quick 5-star review. It takes 2 clicks. You don't even have to write anything because you can't write anything on there. It helps with our SEO a lot. Helps more people discover our podcast, all that good stuff. If you're listening on YouTube, which is where I know most of you do, go ahead and leave a like on the video, comment down below, subscribe if you want to. Let us know what you think about a lot of the stuff that we talked about or other topics you want us to talk about, as well as just, what you think about the Lisa. Actually, no, not the Lisa Ann situation. I'm more interested to hear what you guys have to say about body, beauty standards and stuff and double standards and all that shenanigans. But to do that, you got to stop listening to this podcast, which you can do now because we're finally done. We hope you all enjoyed. We're gonna take off now. Me and Dennis got a lot to do today. We had a 2.5-hour meeting the other day about the podcast and whatnot.
Very productive.
Very productive. Yeah, just sharing that with you all, just to let you know, as laid back as we are about it, we do take what we do seriously. Believe it or not.
May not seem like that is the case, but it is the case.
We assure you. We're gonna go now. And you're beautiful. No matter who you are or what you look like. Do what you want to do to yourself for yourself, and not for anybody else.
But don't get a Brazilian butt lift.
Yeah, don't do that. Actually, just don't do that. We're telling you straight up, no, don't do that.
It seems like 7 out of 10 times it always just becomes such a botched looking fucking thing. I don't know what it is.
They look terrible too, and the buoyancy is not the same thing as a normal ass. Just if you want to take the fat that's in your gut and put it in your ass, just do squats. Jesus Christ. Work, bitch.
Work. Parentheses
Bye.
work.